Good morning, artists. This is Ms. Stark. We're going to extend our point perspective lesson by creating a name design. So it's basically the same thing as using the shapes as we did before. So you find your white paper, you've got your straight edge or ruler, and I'm going to decide, and it really doesn't matter as long as the line is horizontal, side to side, how high up or how low you go. For a beginner, I would recommend going about in the middle. So I hold it with one hand. I always use a pencil and an eraser to start because as you learn how to draw with perspective, it takes practice, patience, and you do tend to make a lot of mistakes. So you want to make sure that you have a eraser, and then you can erase things as you go. And there's also other things that you can do with it if you draw with a pencil. So there is my horizon line. You can imagine this is a grassy field right here and the nice sky. And then somewhere on this line, I'm going to make a point. There's my vanishing point right there. Now, instead of making shapes like we did in the last lesson, I'm going to actually make my name. Now, it's going to be a lot easier to do block letters, but if you feel comfortable, you can try making some of your letters a little bit rounded, and I'll kind of walk you through that. So I'm going to do Stark. So I'm going to make my S. I usually draw it first and then I double up. Going around. Okay, there's an S. And your name can go either below the line or above the line. It just can't go on the line. If it goes on the line, it's going to be hard for you to see where you want to draw your lines to. So I would either go below or above the horizon line. If you like very straight letters, you can draw them out with the ruler, which looks really nice, or you could go back and freehand them. So I'll draw my T using the ruler. A lot of kids and adults are a little impatient with this step because it does take a bit longer to draw letters with the ruler, but then at the same time, it looks so much nicer and neat. Even as an art teacher, and I've been doing this for quite some time, I still can't make a straight line without a ruler. It's not an easy skill. So S and T, and then I'm gonna freehand a letter. When I freehand, I'll draw very lightly and kind of go back and forth. And it's a little easier for me to get my line straight. And I'll kind of size it up so it's about the same as the other letters. There we go. Up, up. Making letters is very, very difficult. It takes a lot of practice, so don't expect to be a professional artist. I'm gonna do the R kind of more like a block letter, just to kind of show you how doing the block letters is a little different than the straight. Either way will work. Depends on what style you want to go in with your letters. So I made an R, and then I made a K. I do go nice and light, and then another nice thing that you can do, if you have it, is to use a black crayon, colored pencil, or marker. Sharpie markers are a great artist tool. I use them so much in the art room, but you'll see a lot of professional artists. If you watch drawing tutorials like on YouTube, a lot of artwork is outlined or defined with a Sharpie marker, and it really just helps to see everything. Plus, another cool trick is you can go and outline everything, and then when you're done, you can go back in with a pencil, eraser, or if you have a nice big eraser, and just kind of erase some of your lines, and it's like you never knew they were there. And I can also redefine some of the parts that maybe I didn't like. I can go back over them and change them, make some adjustments. All right. And I'll erase, like I have a few little lines and mistakes I don't really like that much, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase those. Okay, so now I have Stark right here. I'm not gonna outline my horizon line yet. I haven't decided if I want it to be in my artwork or not, so I'm gonna leave it, because if I want to erase it later and I outline it with marker, I can't. So now I'm gonna go back to my pencil, and the whole point is to use your ruler and find the outer edges. So there's corners on each letter. So there's a corner here, corner here, corner here, corner here. So I'm just how we did with the shapes. I'm gonna line it up. I like to get my hand kind of like an L, so it's supporting it. I know when I was a kid, I would start drawing, I wouldn't support it, and I would go, whoa, and I'd end up messing up my lines. I'd get super frustrated. So you wanna kind of hold it with your hand like that, so it's kind of making a V or an L shape. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw one line there, going to the vanishing point. Find the other top corner. Now I don't need to draw these corners unless I want my letter to look like it's clear, like an ice cube, or it's made out of glass, like a greenhouse. I'll draw one just to show you. So if I go to this corner, I draw that line, it kind of gives it the appearance like my letter's clear or transparent. If I don't want it to look that way, it's probably actually easier because then I don't have to make these two lines. Same thing. If the line, when I line it up, goes through the letter, I don't have to make it because you wouldn't see the line anyway. Same thing, this one is right on there, but you still wouldn't see it. So I only have to do the top of that letter. That's super easy. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the A. Now, when I do this, I'm gonna stop. So look, I'm gonna line it up. I'm gonna stop when it hits the T. See how I did that? Because I want it to look like this letter is actually going behind this letter. Kind of like a building in a city. Same thing, I'm gonna find the next corner, line it up. There's nothing that that's stopping it here, so I can go all the way to the vanishing point, just like that. And then I'm gonna line this last one up. This one I kind of have to switch my hand position around a little bit. And here, so I've got the top. And then I've got a corner here and a corner in this box too. So I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna line it up, and I notice when I draw this, I'm gonna stop here because if this was truly like a building or actually out in a field, it would stop. You wouldn't see it behind here unless the shape was made out of glass. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. There's a corner right here. So I'm gonna line it up just like that. So I've got my letters going now. They kind of look like they're exploding or coming out of there. I'm gonna do the R. See, I made a mistake. And that is okay. All right, try it again. I'm gonna line them up. There's one. Now this one goes all the way behind here, so I wouldn't see it anyway, so I'm not even gonna make it. This one right here, line it up. There's one. We've got one inside here. Just like that. And one right here. I don't need to do anything here because these lines would have gone behind that. Now let's say for instance that you wanted to do a shape above the horizon line. So let's say we have like a circle, okay? I just want to show you this because the perspective changes depending on where your shapes are in your space. If they're above the lines, you're going to see underneath. If they're below the horizon line, you're only going to see the tops. So here, I'm doing a circle. Circles are kind of tricky too because there's no straight edges or corners, so you have to kind of eyeball it or just look at it and try to figure out where you think the edge of the shape is. So this is, to my eyes, this looks like the edge of the circle. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my line there. And then same thing, I'm gonna find the edge like that. Kind of looks like the bat signal coming out here. I could put like a little bat shape inside there. That would be pretty fun. Now I'm gonna do this curvy letter here, this S, and same thing, it's curved, so I don't have those nice straight corners to work with, so it's a little bit more challenging. I have to use my eyes and kind of guess a little bit. So I'm all right. This is about where the shape ends. So I'm gonna find that and draw my line. And that's why we use pencil, because you can go back and make adjustments and changes if something doesn't look right to your eye. Right here to here, line it up. Now this one's one of those tricky ones that goes behind the T, so I'm gonna stop as soon as it hits the T. I really like using a clear ruler, and they're very cheap. I think I got like 3 of these for $1. And because I can see through it when I'm doing this. So it's just like, I mean, you work with what you have, but I highly recommend them, and honestly, they're cheaper than the wooden rulers. same thing, I've got a curve down here, so I'm going to have to just use my eyes and find the edge where that shape ends. And I'm gonna start going. Oh, it's gonna hit the T, so I'm gonna stop. Because I want it to look like the S is kind of hiding out behind the T. All right, I've got another corner here. And it stops. It bumps into the edge of the S. So I don't need to do anything there either. So I have these. Now I can take these shapes like we did in the other lesson. If I choose to, I can outline these lines here. I could start to add some shading. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can extend this lesson. There's another fun thing you can do, but it is quite challenging. But I always have students who love to challenge themselves, and that's awesome. That's how you get good at art. Okay, don't be afraid to try something just because it's difficult, and if you fail, no big deal. Okay, so if let's say I've got this circle shape here, and I don't want this shape to look like it's going on forever. I want it to kind of end, so it kind of looks like it's like a little cylinder, a little pop can floating in the sky. I have to copy this shape, this curvy shape, further down where I want it to end. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I got this curve here, and now I can erase the rest of these lines that I don't want. Then I can go over it with my black marker. See, mine's not perfect. And it kind of gives the illusion like it's like this cylinder or tube and it's kind of just floating mysteriously in space. I can also do that with a letter, like for instance, let me do it one more time. So we'll do a T up here. Okay, and then I'm going to outline my T with the black so you can really see it. Now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go to my vanishing point using my ruler. Go 1, 2, lining those up. Take your time. That's probably the most important step beyond the drawing, is really just taking time to look at it, using your eyes and lining everything up. One here, and I noticed there's one here, but again, it's one of those weird kind of situations where the T blocks it. So I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna keep drawing it, but all my lines do go to the vanishing point. Now I wanna make this T look like it's a small T. It's not a T that goes on forever. So what I'm gonna have to do for this is I'm going to have to copy this line down as far. So I take my ruler as far as I want this letter to be. So I bring it down. Oh, that looks pretty good to me. And then any of the other lines have to line up with that, or the size is not right. So I line it up with this and bring it down and go over that. You can see how that looks like that. And then same thing, I line it up here with this horizontal line and bring it down until it touches just where the bottom of this vertical line ends. And I outline it. Just like that. That gives the illusion, and then I'm gonna go ahead and erase this, that my T does not go on forever, that it's shorter and it stops. Now I can go back with my black marker and outline it. Just like that. You can have a lot of fun. I like to do some shading and different things. I'm gonna end up doing a quick video shading just to show you what you could do with this. It's up to you. You can erase the horizon point, the horizon line and vanishing point if you choose to, or you can outline them and make them part of your artwork. You can add a cool sky to this, or you can just add some nice colors. I'm gonna add one more link to a video that will show you how I might color this as well in a little bit of speeded up time.